There is only one question that matters. Do you swear on your life that what you say is true?
The Last Duel has just come out this past weekend as of this recording. Unfortunately, it's underperforming at the box office with a reportedly $100 million production budget and earning less than $5 million at the box office this weekend. That's pretty bad when you consider what the budget was for this film. Now, there's a couple of reasons why this could be happening. Obviously, we're still in the middle of a pandemic. The marketing was atrocious for this film. I only learned about it 2 weeks ago when I saw it in a trailer. When I saw the trailer for the film during Venom: Let There Be Carnage. And a lot of people didn't even know it was out until social media started talking about it underperforming. So they learned about it just this past weekend. Some people still don't know this movie exists. So the marketing really dropped the ball in this film. And I don't understand what the strategy was, because nobody heard of this movie until just now. I don't get it. But marketing failed it. We're in a pandemic. It released around a bunch of other big films. I mean, just a few weeks ago, we had Venom: Let There Be Carnage. We got the new Halloween movie. We got No Time to Die. A lot of other big films coming out around this time. And I don't understand why they thought now was a good time to drop that movie, when they could have dropped it at some point during the year where there wasn't a bunch of big films dropping. I don't get it. Another reason could be the fact that the movie does deal with some sensitive subject matter. I'm not going to tell you what it's about. It's a non-spoiler review. So if you're interested in seeing this movie, but you're worried about the subject, you may want to look up what it's about before you go see it and then make your own decision on whether or not you would be comfortable seeing it. Because it can be a sensitive subject for many people. When seeing the scenes in question, it made me a little anxious. It was a little uncomfortable. But I appreciate a movie that doesn't hold my hand, a movie that doesn't insult my intelligence as an adult and treat me like a child and act like I need my hand to be held. Like I don't understand the evils of this world, that I don't understand that things like these atrocities really do happen in real life. I don't need to be babied when watching a film. I understand what I'm getting into. When I go into a film, especially a film like this, I understand that some things may happen in the film that could make me uncomfortable, could be hard to watch. But I'm a grown man. I'm an adult. I understand this is reality. This is the reality of the world. I alone can't change it or do anything. It's the reality of history. These events of the movie are supposedly based on true events. There's nothing I can do to change history. It's an interesting story to try and bring to the eyes of people who've never heard of it. Like, I had never heard about this story before in my life. I think there might be a book that it's based on too. I'm not sure. But I had never heard of it. But I am so glad I went to see this movie. I was excited even to walk in and see this movie. I didn't really know what it was about. I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, it looks like a medieval war movie or something. I don't know. It looks like a medieval action movie. That should be fun. I'm a sucker for anything set in the Middle Ages, Dark Ages, medieval times, or history in general, really. So that already got me interested. And then I saw Adam Driver was in the film and I was like, okay, well, Adam's in it. I gotta go see it. The dude's a phenomenal actor and he proves it yet again in this film. And I'll get to that in a moment. And when I was excited walking into the theater, and here's why I was excited. I was excited because it had been so long since I had gone to the movies to see something that wasn't a comic book movie or a big summer action flick or a big special effects extravaganza. It was so refreshing to support a movie like this and to be pleasantly surprised by what I saw in the movie. It really was an experience. The movie, of course, is by Ridley Scott, and the cast is phenomenal. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Adam Driver, Jodie Comer. Everything was well done, well written. My only real gripe about the film is the pacing's a little jarring, especially in the beginning when you don't realize how the flow of the story is supposed to go. Once you get it, it becomes less jarring, but the pacing is a little weird. They don't really give you much of a sense of travel or time passing by. One scene ends, and then the next scene begins. They could be in a different place, different time, and you may not know until they say, oh, something happened months ago. You know? That's my only real gripe about the movie. That and the accents for some characters were a little eh. The movie's set in France, and so few characters sound like they have French accents, which, I mean, it's such a small thing. It's not a big deal, really. But I expected it to be a medieval action flick, and it really wasn't. Like, there was action. There was action in the beginning. There was action in the end. The middle didn't have a whole lot of action. But I was pleasantly surprised that it wasn't just that. It was a deep story about truth, about justice and injustice, about how the truth can be twisted and changed based on who's telling it, how different people interpret the truth, and about betrayal. And, I mean, there's like two big themes with this movie. There's the namesake of the movie, The Last Duel, Trial by Combat. You know, some people, you know, I've seen comments and taglines added to this movie, you know, the trial by combat that defined a nation. That's like the big, catchy tagline I've seen used with this movie. But then there's also the deeper core to the story. That's just the superficial part of what's going on. That's just the top layer. You peel that away, and you have something, you have the sensitive subject matter, you have something that's more raw, more visceral, more, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it. It's something deeper. It's something scary. It's something that can happen today. It's something that does happen today. It's something that goes unspoken even today. But the plot of this movie is about speaking up and about not letting atrocities and injustices slide by and go unpunished. So you peel away that top layer that is the trial by combat, the last duel, the action, and you see the plot where the sensitive subject matter is handled, where they don't hold your hand. And by the way, the scenes in question were toned down, I hear, compared to obviously real historical events and other source material that it's based on. It is toned down. I feel like it was handled well, but it may be a little too difficult for some people to watch. The sensitive subject matter and the themes of this movie, I mean, it sort of hits you right in the face. You don't realize it's that kind of movie until it happens. Up to the point where it happened, I was like, okay, I'm not really... what's this movie really about? Because I was having trouble establishing what it was about. Then the main issue, the main problem, the main conflict happens, and I'm like, oh, this is what this is about. It's this kind of movie. Okay, now I get it. Let's see what happens. The actors all did a fantastic job. Of course, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are great actors, but Adam Driver, Jodie Comer stole the show. They did phenomenal. Both of them had the standout performances of the film. It was amazing. The film is so good. If I haven't said that yet, it is so good. You need to go see this movie. Do not sleep on this movie, folks. It deserves your support. if the movie isn't award worthy, the performances at the very least should be. It's brilliant. My fiance, who can sleep through anything, she fell asleep during Godzilla vs. Kong. If she gets comfortable, and our theater has those recliner chairs, if she gets comfortable, she can fall asleep and sleep through anything. She was glued to the screen the entire time. She loved every second of this movie. And so did I. We both walked out and said, that was excellent. She got very emotional, particularly during the scenes dealing with this sensitive subject matter. As you can tell, it was uncomfortable for her even to watch it. It was difficult for her to watch it. It made her emotional. It made her cry. But she's like me. She appreciates that the movie didn't hold her hand and treat her like a child. We understand that these things happen in the real world and that these evils exist and these terrible things happen. I don't need a movie to baby me and try to act like I'm not old enough to understand what's happening and that what's happening is wrong. And the actors are doing their job. They're bringing a very difficult scene to life, trying to handle it tastefully and still show how terrible it is. The movie, it's kind of long. It's a little long. The movie split into 3 chapters. You get the truth of the 3 main characters. Starting with Matt Damon's main character, Jean de Carouge, I think is how you say his name. You get his truth on the events of the movie. Then chapter 2, you get Adam Driver's character's truth. Jacques Legris, I think is the correct pronunciation. And then, of course, the third truth, the third chapter, is Jodie Comer's character, Marguerite de Carouge. And it's interesting how each character can see things differently, can interpret something differently. You see one character and you're like, oh, so that's how it happened? That's what it was? And then you see the event seen from another character and be like, oh, wait a minute, well, this character clearly saw it differently and interpreted it differently. And then you see it again. And you also get to see some perspectives that aren't shown in other characters' truths. It takes all 3 chapters to get the whole picture of what actually is happening. And for you to understand that someone may be telling the truth, but it may not be the whole truth. It may not be 100% accurate. The core of what they're saying is true, but the details are wrong. The context is wrong. This movie does that beautifully. I cannot praise this film enough. It might be my favorite film of the year, 2021. It's fantastic. I wasn't sure how a medieval set movie with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck was going to be, because you see those names and you don't really think, oh, they'd be great in a medieval movie. But they fit right in. It's a little hard to not see Ben Affleck, really. You know, you see him and you're like, that's Ben Affleck. It's hard to not see him and for him to disappear inside of a role. He does good, but he is definitely not the standout performance. And again, that's not a knock on his performance, because he does great. He does a great job. Nothing about it was unbelievable. Everything about his character was entertaining. I loved his character. His character gave me a couple of laughs throughout the movie, which was a rarity throughout this film. The film is very serious and takes itself very seriously. But the film has a strong message about speaking out and not letting injustices go unpunished. It's a very raw film. The action sequences, though there's not a whole lot in the beginning and end, they're done great. Choreography's great. The final action sequence, I feel, was really well done. I really, really liked it. Again, the acting, it's everything. Everything is just so good. It's such a good movie. I'm telling you, do not sleep on this film. It is worth your attention. But if you don't think you can handle the subject matter, or if you're worried that it might be about something you can't quite handle, then you may want to look up what it's about before making your decision to go see it. Or like I said, maybe wait until it comes out on video so you can fast forward towards the sensitive parts. It's well worth it. Well worth it. I don't really know what else I can say about this movie. It's the soundtrack, the audio mixing, particularly during action sequences. The audio mixing and the sound effects I felt were really well done, especially in a theater because the speakers are loud. It's right in your ear. The sword slashes, cutting through flesh, the blood splatter, everything in the action sequences, the crashing, the armor plates, smacking against one another and sliding, scraping against one another. All very well done. It's like it was slapping me in the ear, which is a weird way to put it, but it was very impactful, the action sequences were. Everything looked authentic. I can't speak to the historical accuracy because I'm not a historian. So, I've heard that the movie is pretty accurate to what it's trying to portray. Obviously not 100% because Hollywood will always take liberties with things like this. But I can't confirm or deny necessarily. But I love films in this setting. You need to support this film. You need to go check it out. Because films like this, when they don't do well, it tells studios that movies like this do not make money. And when they think they don't make money, they make fewer of them. It's crucial that more films like this get made. Because we need more than just... I love comic book movies as much as the next guy, but we need more than just that. We need more than just big special effects movies and action movies and comic book movies. Fantasy movies. We need stuff that's more grounded like this. Now, before I start reiterating all my points again, over and over again, I'm going to wrap up this video. This was the first time I've ever done a review like this about a movie or something on this channel. It was something I wanted to try out. If you would like a more spoilery review, please let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please, please, please smack the like button. It's very important. Please subscribe if you want more videos. Want to be updated when I upload. Let me know in the comments if you want more reviews like this. If you enjoyed it. If it helped you decide whether or not to go see this movie. Please let me know. Feedback is very important for me to improve the channel and understand what kind of content you do and do not want. This is just something I really wanted to try, and I figured this was the perfect movie to begin with because it's a movie that is very good, that is not getting near the recognition that it deserves. And I would go back to watch it in a second. But thank you guys so much. Go see The Last Duel in theaters right now. And I will see you guys in the next video.
The penalty for bearing false witness is that you are to be burned alive.
I will not be silent.
You stole